What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another customization video. Thank you. My first customization video literally took off to my standards anyway. Surpassed 300 subscribers with that video, views, likes, man, thank you so very much. So we're going to be continuing with that theme, and also another theme that's been going on here recently with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. We're going to be painting the Green Ranger's weaponry. Stick around. Alrighty, and there is the Green Ranger. I unboxed him. Make sure and go back and check that unboxing out. Just a tremendous figure. We're not going to be going over him or the coin too much. We are here to look at the weaponry of the Green Ranger, which consists of the Sword of Darkness, which gets destroyed by the Red Ranger, and the Dragon Flute or the Dragon Dagger, which can summon the Dragon Zord. So both of these came in the box like this, white, but incredibly detailed. Hopefully the camera will pick up on all the little details on these weapons because there is quite a bit. So we're going to be painting these in the corresponding colors of the actual weaponry from the TV show. Let me show you how to do it. So the paint that I've found that works best for me, because I'm not an artist or a painter, customizer, anything like that, are these painters' pens. They have fine and ultra fine tips in all kinds of colors. And they are very, very permanent. Very hard to get off even your skin. So you're going to be wearing some gloves. And these are very, very good gloves. As I said about the painter's pens, it's very hard to get off. So it does stick to the weaponry very good. And the silver looks like metal. So it is a great choice for this very, very small project, especially with the fine points. So a couple other things I'm going to be using here is a paper towel that hopefully doesn't leave too many little pieces behind, and a piece of the paper that was included with the action figure. It's wax paper, so you can kind of sit things on it and it really won't stick too much. So we're going to be using that to sit wet pieces on, things to dry, so on and so forth. Let's get gloved up, alcohol these parts, and start painting. So while I'm giving these weapons a nice little wipe down with alcohol, make sure and smash that like and subscribe button here on YouTube. It really, really helps. You guys really showed up for the first Batman customization video, and I really, really appreciate it. You have no idea. And then make sure and check out the links in my description for all of my social media accounts. Everything that I'm doing is over there. Whew. Make sure and blow the stuff off of them. Thanks, guys. All right, so we're going to be starting with the metal blades. Make sure and give these pens a good shake. All right, now that everything is good and shaken up, we are going to commence. Now, working with this very, 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 very small weaponry, it can be rather tricky. And before I get started here, I just want to go ahead and show you guys that I went ahead and done the Red Ranger sword just as a test to see if I was capable of doing such small, intricate painting. And as you can see, it turned out very well. The gold on the handle, little blue specks. You can see the Tyrannosaurus coin in the middle there. The blade looks pretty good in my opinion, and so does the hilt. So not a bad job. And if you take your time, you too can do this. So taking the Dragon Dagger in one hand, we're going to just go ahead and go along the very outside with the silver. You're just going to want to do small, intricate taps just along the outside there, because the inside is actually green. So you're going to want to take that the whole way around like so. As you can see, you can kind of tell that it's kind of coming along, but it does take a little bit of time, so just take your time and you too will be able to customize your Dragon Dagger. Alright, so spare no expense, there we are with the blade and the mouthpiece painted completely silver. This dries very, very quickly. This is actually probably dry right now to the touch, but I tend to not touch it for at least 5 or 10 minutes. That's about how long it takes to really, really set, and preferably overnight before you set it on a surface, any length of time before it, will be sticky or anything. But there is the silver part done. Just small intricate taps with the silver pen all the way up and down, and make sure you get the side too so the blade looks symmetrical all around. So that is the silver part complete of the dragon flute. Moving on to the green, give her a shake. So for these really intricate parts, the pans I'm using are actually a little bit too bulky. It's actually kind of hard, so I would strongly suggest going for the extra fine tip, which I only have at this moment, I believe, in black and gold. So the gold will really come in handy for these very intricate parts. But for the next part, the green part, you are going to be tapping and just going along the edge here, inside of the silver. So as you can see, you're going to be going up that line right there along the inside. I'm going to be doing that first because we're going to be going down the center with black and gold, so we'll be able to cover up any mistakes that go onto the thing, and probably need to come back with the silver later on and finish that up. Okay, so that green was really difficult not to get everywhere. As you can see, it got quite a bit on the center there and a little bit on the silver. But once this dries, you just give it a little shake up, blow on it a little bit, and it should be dry in just a couple minutes. And then we're going to go over the inside there, and all of that green spillover will be covered up eventually, so it'll be nice and symmetrical. So don't fret about getting it all over the knife. Just don't get it everywhere. You don't want to paint the whole knife black and then go back over to green, then go back. You just want to get as little bit as you can on the center, but you're going to obviously get some on places that you don't want it, but that's going to be okay because we're going to be painting over those spots. All right, so while that dragon flute is drying just a little bit, we're going to go ahead and work on the blade to the Sword of Darkness. So as you can see there on the lower part of the blade and the upper part here where it curves, there's a little bit of, what do you call that? Texture, we'll say. So that gets painted gold, but the rest of this blade all the way from here on up is silver. So this is a relatively simple paint. The wrapping around the hilt itself actually stays white, and the ribbon and the little circlet, the little gem in there in the middle gets painted red. But the rest of this is just, basically silver. So let's go ahead and give her a start. So for this one, it's not really too much of a babying process. You're going to take that pan and just rub it all the way up the side there, and make sure and get the blade part so it's not sitting. Make sure and don't go over where you're going to be painting gold too much. But as I said, you don't really need to fret about getting it on places that it don't need to go. So you're just going to be taking this silver and tapping all along the inside there, all along the blade. There's where some gold starts, so we're not going to do it there, and along the bottom like that. All right, so there was no getting around painting that gold part up there, but I did manage to work my way around some of the gold parts down bottom there. So once they get painted over gold, we're going to have to go around and touch just a little bit of the silver up, but there's the blade pretty much completed. Not bad. All right, it's time to check back in with the Dragon Dagger, and that is pretty dry. We're going to move on to the black, and luckily I was able to pick up an ultra fine black tip. So that is going to definitely come in handy when painting the trunk there. So as you can see, those fine tips are just magnificent, and it's going to prove very useful for doing the center of this. So for this part, we are not going to worry about getting any black on the gold, because we're going to just paint right over it. So that we've got to make sure and get down the trunk there, and that, as you can see, it kind of ran off the side there. So this is where keeping a paper towel and stuff handy comes in handy. Okay, so this black process is quite tedious. As you can see, this side turned out a little bit better than this side, but if it turns out like this, as you can see, it's splattered all over the place, and I went ahead and worked down the bottom there. Don't fret about it. You can fix this easily. That's why we went ahead and done the green first. Even though we go over the green again, we're going to have to just cut in very slightly this time, and that will cut the black in very nicely and make it look kind of like it did here. So once we get the the gold on that flute handle there, this Dragon Dagger is really going to start popping. Alrighty, daddy. We went ahead and did a little bit of the hilt there, as you can see. it is starting to come together beautifully. We haven't done any of the cutting in yet on the actual blade. We're going to go ahead and finish everything up and then do little cut-ins at the end, and I will show you the finished result. While this is drying, let's go back to the Sword of Darkness. All right, now that the blade is good and dry, we're going to be going ahead with the gold with the ultra fine point. So we have some gold up here on the very tip of the blade. As you can see, it's kind of receding out there. So we're going to be going over that very, very lightly. As you can see, you can go ahead and touch the blade as much as you want. So just very gently, small taps over that gold part, and as you can see, it starts showing up very subtly, which is what we want. It's not standing out gold, it's just, you know, gold accented. So after that's done, you'll have a nice little accented tip of the blade there. See how it's just subtle enough? If you take a look at some pictures, you will notice the subtle goldness of that inlay there. So I think that turned out really well. So now moving along to the hilt, and we have just a ton of gold down there. Just take that pen and just tap it along there. So some of these do run a little bit, so you have to be kind of careful. That's where the paper towel also comes in handy, so you can kind of dab that in there and fix any runs that may take place. All right, there is the gold accented blade completed, and if I do say so myself, that looks pretty good. Not that hard to do either. You have to be careful with those small intricate tapping points there, because they have little rivets, holes in them, and they do pool up ink. So you have to be very, very gentle when applying the gold to those accents, but not bad. Let's go ahead and check back in on that Dragon Dagger. Okay, so the Dragon Dagger is looking phenomenal. I went ahead and did a little bit of cutting in while I was waiting for it to dry, just a little bit more down bottom there. So as you can see, we are gonna be looking phenomenal once we get that gold on there. Let's go ahead and let this dry for just a second, and then we'll get the gold on there. All right, on to the gold portions of the Dragon Dagger. So this is going to be a very tedious process, so I'm going to emphasize once more, make sure and use the ultra fine if you're using these pens. If not, do whatever you wish. This is how I do it. So we're going to go ahead and commence with the upper part of the blade, which is completely gold. So just give those little small tap, a little ring around there. That gets painted. Make sure that you get both sides. And just like that, you want to add a little bit of gold to it. All right, and there is the gold accented top completed. Man, that gold really does make this dagger pop. Let's go ahead and move downward while this is still a little bit wet, I'm afraid, and do the Dragon Sword coin. So this shouldn't be too much trouble. All you want to do is just make sure that you fill in all the little details on that Dragon Sword coin so it does kind of pop. As you can see, it's kind of recessed, so you're going to have to tap just a little bit around. And there we go, filled in on both sides. You had to be careful with that because it will pool up inside there if you hold it in there too long or you do too much coloring. So just small taps on the inside of that coin will do, because it will pool up and you will have gold paint everywhere. All right, moving on to the piping of the Dragon Flute, which goes onto the mouthpiece right there. So that loops around the top and around the backside there and connects to the backside of the coin right there. So all that is painted gold. Very careful because they are just little tubes for the flute. So don't go too crazy. All right, so there is the piping or the tubing painted for the Dragon Dagger. Not too bad, but as I've tried to emphasize, please be very careful that you don't apply too much paint to these very small weapons, because it will pool up around there, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, you're chasing gold paint down the whole flute. So just small intricate taps, and then you have a result like that. Not too bad at all. I believe that black is dry enough that we can start accenting the gold flute on the blade. So these are very, 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 very small gold points on this blade here. So you're going to have to give great care to just barely touch them, like so. Just barely tap those gold flute points. Intricate for sure, but as you can see, it can be done with very, very small taps. Now, one side does have more than the other because that's the way it is. That's just the way it is. And we have a complete top part of the dragon flute. Now we're going to sit this down, let it dry just a touch, and move on back to the Sword of Darkness, and then we're going to finish up with the handle. Alright, so the Sword of Darkness is just about complete. We have a little bit more gold to do down here on the handle. Actually, I'm going to pause on that and do the red gem. Alright, now that we got that in order, let's go ahead and fill this gem in so we get a completely done top half of the Sword of Darkness. So just little taps around that gemstone there. I think that's what it is. And you start showing up like that. And there we have it, a complete upper blade of the dragon dark sword. I'm sorry, Sword of Darkness. There we go. We'll get it out in just a minute. So not bad at all, and not really all too difficult to do. So the last couple things that we have to do for this part, let's go ahead and take that off, is the gold trim around the handle. So those little lines there, just get some gold, like so. Alright, and there are the accents on the hilt handle itself. Just a little bit of gold around those points there, and the handle remains white. Now we're going to be moving further down the hilt to the ribbon, painting it red. So not only does the ribbon on the handle get painted red, you have these little dots here on the handle also that give the illusion of the ribbon being joined to the handle. So those also get painted a very light red, just like that. So there are those on both sides, a little bit of red. Now moving down to the actual ribbon itself. So this is all red down here on the tassel. So just go ahead and give that a nice little coat. Make sure and get all those crevices around the edge there. Make sure and get both sides down the bottom on those little strands. Alright, and there is the ribbon painted on the end of the handle. I'm going to go ahead and add some gold accent to that ball and the little band there just to give it some taste. And then the Sword of Darkness will be completed. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, a completed Sword of Darkness. Both sides are painted equally and as good as I can do. And it's not perfect, but it is better than plain white. Now let's finish up with the famous dragon flute. Alright, so finishing up with the handle, we're going to be bringing the black back out and going all the way down the handle, not paying any mind to any of the gold, because just like we did up on the blade, we're going to be going back and filling all of that gold in, and the little green stripe that goes down that little line right there. So once we get this black in, we will finish up with the gold and the gold on the tip of the handle right there. Okay, there is the handle painted black to reference the Rolling Stones. There it is. We're going to go ahead and let this dry for just a couple minutes, and then we are going to be finishing up with the gold accents. I am so excited, and I'm kind of proud of myself, I'm not going to lie, that this is how this looks. I can't wait to show both of the final results. Let it dry for just a minute, and we'll finish it on up. Alright, now that everything is good and dry, back to the gold for the flute pieces. So you're just going to tap those gold at the very top there. And once you get those tops done, then you got to work your way down the side. That's why we went ahead and painted it all black, so we can make sure that it's cut in nice and neat. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you stuck around to the end of this video to see the complete dragon flute and the complete Sword of Darkness. Look at this, not bad at all. I'm going to pat myself on the back here because this was very intricate and I think I pulled it off. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you're looking forward to seeing the rest of the Rangers weapons come to fruition. And let me know what else you would like to see me paint. I've unboxed quite a lot of stuff now, and I'm really enjoying the painting process. Make sure and smash that like and subscribe button here on YouTube. It really helps. Let me know, like I said in the comments, what you think. Let me know how I did. I think I did pretty good, but I want to know your guys' opinion. The Green Ranger is now fully equipped. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure and smash that like and subscribe button here on YouTube. It really helps. Make sure and check out the links in my description for all of my social medias. And as always, the Green Ranger will protect you.